Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Joe Biden was victimized by the truth.
Bye-bye Biden. He may not know it yet, but I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover.
Is Joe Biden dead meat, yes or no?
I think so.
Bob?
Terminal condition.
Terminal. Eleanor?
Yes, unless he comes in third in Iowa.
Morton?
Dying.
I say dead.
Democratic presidential candidate Joseph Biden today faces a controversy. 3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife is sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania and come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now, that's a little too much, because, as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge, that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
To the political community in Washington, it all seems of a piece. Plagiarism at law school, plagiarism on the stump.
The great communicator. Strike that. The great imitator.
You don't steal verbatim, or when you do, as he did 99% of the time, you give credit.
Biden's critics say he sells himself as a man whose words and visions can inspire a new generation in politics. But if the thoughts, phrases, and visions really belong to others, it's a form of false advertising.
Is it a wise idea, though, to take something that personal, anyway, from another politician and try and appropriate it to your own campaign?
I think it was a stupid thing to appropriate material that was really very personal, that was someone else's.
Most people didn't know who he was, you know, Joe Biden, and now they're going to say, oh yeah, he's the guy who plagiarized. That's
a lot of people.
Politically, that's devastating. These clips are devastating. He looks like a Joe Biden wind-up doll with somebody else's words coming out.
If they're going to do things that are stupid as well as immoral, then they're probably too dumb to have the job of president.
The voters are going to have to decide whether he was dishonest or dumb.
He went, he became president. I didn't go, and I'm still vice president. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are. Think about it. Everybody has known from day one how smart, how bright Hillary is. Everybody knows how tough she is. You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. So be successful. I sincerely hope some of you become millionaires and billionaires. I mean that. But engage. You know, there's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the.
Joe Biden is slipping.
Rapidly rising
Now at the age of 77 years old and running for president for the third time, Biden is clearly diminished.
All men and women created by you know the thing. Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920.
Joe Biden does not have the strength, stamina, and mental fortitude required to lead this country.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his test and makes your mental state an issue for voters?
Well, if he can't figure out the difference between an elephant and a lion, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me, but I mean, I'm so forward looking to have an opportunity to sit with the president or stand with the president in debates. There can be plenty of time. And by the way, as I joke with him, I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say. Anyway, I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
What will your administration do to help them give them that chance?
Let's move it up here. There used to be a basic part of this.
Joe Biden possibly, reading his responses from a teleprompter.
Social distancing and wearing masks, which I never do when I walk outside of this house. I never fail to do. Now, one day, on day one.
Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A?
It's trying to distract the American people.
Can you say yes or no, Brett? Yes or no? You can't answer the question.
The rapidly rising I don't know.
Hello, my name is Portia Bennett. I'm just going to be honest, Mr. Biden. I was told to go off this paper, but I can't. You need the truth. And I'm part of the truth.
There is not a single solitary reason in the world why, as I said, we shouldn't be in a position that everybody, and that's my wife, Jill. Hey, Jilly, I'm Jill's husband, actually. But I guess I should cut to the chase here. We're in a... I'm happy to take questions if you have them. He gave me a list of how to recognize. Is Alex AP out there? I was told NBC, Mike. Where's the Wilmington, the Delaware State News? I mean, Delaware News Journal, I should say. That's my hometown team. I better call on them. I'm sorry. Who was I supposed to go to next? Anybody? I got to make sure I get the Wilmington newspaper here before I leave here. I'll be dead. People have watched me on television, and they've watched, and the more that Donald Trump is out.
Vice President Biden, I'd like to ask you, 3 consecutive American presidents have enjoyed stints of explosive economic growth due to a boom in oil and natural gas production. As president, would you be willing to sacrifice some of that growth, even knowing potentially that it could displace thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of blue-collar workers in the interest of transitioning to that greener economy?
The answer is yes. They want to do the same thing I want to do. They want to phase out fossil fuels, and we're going to phase out fossil fuels. That's why not another new coal plant will be built. I did that while you were watching. Number one. Number two, thirdly, we're going to have an opportunity, I believe, in the next round here to use my green economy, my Green Deal. This president is to during the primaries. Because if you could take care, if you were a quartermaster, you can sure and hell take care of running a department store thing, where in the second floor of the ladies' department or whatever. You know what I mean? Excuse me, I got to get this right.
And why should the voters believe that you can win the national election?
I was a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger. And so we have to just change the culture, period. And keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it. And you want to check my shape on it? Let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. It is important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look. Get your work straight, Jack. I'm Jill Biden's husband, and I work for Cedric Richmond. Are you joking? No. You're too old to go for it. Granddaughters not only love their dads, their grandpops, they always like them, and that's the great thing. Thank you, baby. Thanks. I want you to meet Finnegan. And stop your boast about never being seen at what you can do anything. You always talk about your ability to negotiate. And so what I've done is I've met with, via what I did this morning with the medical experts. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives, when you think about it. But Tammy is an incredibly competent United States senator with a great deal of heft and lift to her. The Obama-Biden administration rescued the auto industry and helped them retool. We made solar energy cost competitive with traditional energy and weatherized more than 1 million homes. This is just the beginning if we get reelected. I support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. From the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapons. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds?
So you were in veto when you said you're going to take our guns.
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that. It's a viral video like the other ones you're putting out that are simply a lie.
Your voice, you said that you're taking guns.
Oh, he just clarified it. Wait. Take your AR-14s.
Okay, this is not okay.
Hold on. Hey, let's get over here. There's a lot of guys. Want it.
I'm not working.
Thanks so much.
Give me a break, man.
You're pushing up on me.
Hey, there's a lot of people.
Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Are you able to own a machine gun? I said, are you able to own one? Machine guns are illegal. That's right. So AR-15's illegal.
How is that in a machine gun?
No, it's not.
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds?
In America with handguns, and there are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are buying a handgun?
If you change the tax rate, it went from 38% to 21%. If you just send it back to 38%, down if you 36%, 28%. That's what we started to try to do.
You guys voted early today?
Because I'm going to be in, where am I tomorrow?
Florida.
Traveling tomorrow.
Do you encourage people to vote early if they can?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Corn Pop was a bad dude. I'm a Democrat. I'm not going nuts.
You'd be the oldest president in American history.
Are you Winston Churchill? All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
It's Chris, but anyway.
It would put 720 million back in the workforce. We choose truth over facts. And what makes his wild claims and hopes, he now hopes we don't notice what he said or won't remember. And when he does follow through or doesn't do when follow through, the exact opposite. Am I ready to go?
This is a crisis.
This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia.
Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China.
Why are we getting nervous, man? China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They're not bad folks.
Since the outbreak, the Communist Party has been mobilizing overseas organizations to buy local supplies and send them to China.
The growth of China is overwhelmingly in our interest. What a beautiful history we wrote together. Banning all travel will not stop it.
The president is right. That travel restriction on China, as every public health official we've talked to said, bought the country time.
Hysterical xenophobia. Xenophobia.
Joe.
I complimented him on dealing with China. I'm not going nuts. The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that in fact believes in open trade and making sure that we're in a position that the world that we deal with WHO the right way. That in fact that's when things begin to change. That's when China's behavior is going to change. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
My Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this. I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black. And other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
The first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputation of two United States senators who built their reputation and career on the segregation of race in this country.
Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker has?
Apologize for what? For what?
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden.
This is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop, and they should not.
These people are tearing up our lives.
A third straight night, Portland police declared a riot.
The vast majority of the protest has been peaceful.
Over the weekend, 59 officers injured and 47 people arrested.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing a proposal to cut $1 billion from the New York City Police Department.
We need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
be safe in Joe Biden's America.